What is going on, peeps? We're actually going to talk about one more thing before we get started with today's mission, and that is going to be understanding the sync feature on the CDJs. The beat sync function is crucial to getting your beats to be matched together when you're mixing. And let's just talk about how we're going to set that up and make sure it works. So one of the most important things, on top of phrasing and all that other jazz, is making sure your tempos are matched up. Because if your songs are both playing at an incorrect time, like this track's at 123, this track's at 120, so if those two songs are playing next to each other, there's no way in any universe or galaxy or dimension that they will be playing together. Well, maybe another dimension, but we're not there. So let's just play these two at the same time, and you'll hear right off the bat they're both going to be playing at a different timing. Hear that? Not good. You never want to hear that. If you hear that in the mix, that's called train wrecking, okay? And that is one of the worst things you can do. So how do we counteract that? There's this beat sync function, and that's what this is over here on the side of the CDJ. So you see your sync master and your sync button. So the master means this is going to be the master tempo that you choose, okay? And not this master tempo. This master tempo is actually correlated to the key of your song, and if you change your tempo, it changes the pitch, just like you would with a normal sound. But this master sets your tempo to basically make this CDJ slave to whatever the tempo is on the chosen master CDJ. So this one's at 120. The master is selected here. So if I click the sync button, it's going to change my tempo from 123 to 120. So let's just do that. Boom. See that? Now we're at 120, and now both of them are synced together with the same tempo. Okay? So now, if I push play on both of these, they're going to sound great, and they're going to stay in time with each other. So let's do that again now that they're synced. Much better. Hear that? Sounds way better. If you change this pitch fader to a different tempo, the other one will follow, because it is now a slave to this tempo. Okay? So let's say I use this track as the master now. This one's synced. Notice both tempos are changing. Cool stuff. So that is the functionality of the sync button. So now let's just try to do it on its own. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to search over here, and I'm just going to push play. Okay, so I just push play on this track, and they sync. No matter what, they're going to be in time. Really awesome feature. Cool. So let's just load up another song and to show you that one more time on a different song. Start from scratch. Okay, so we're just going to do a similar thing here. So let's see, what is this track at original tempo? 120. This is at 119. That's perfect. That's not too far of a pitch bend, okay? Let's say we have a track at, okay, let's use this as an example. So this song's at 124, okay, and this song's at 119. My personal thing is when you're changing tempos, I don't like to go any higher or any lower than 3 beats per minute above or below the original tempo. So, for example, I wouldn't want to stretch my 119 song all the way to 124. What I would do is I would meet in the middle somewhere, so that way you're still preserving some of the energy of the original song. Because if I play a 124 song at 119, it's just going to sound really slow, and the energy is going to be completely different than what the producer intended it to be. So 124 to 119, I would meet that at about 121. Yeah, 121. I can get it there. Close enough. 121, okay? So now I'm going to set this as my master. Or actually, I'm going to use this as my master. So I'm just going to set this to 121.5 is cool, and I'll sync it. 121.5. Cool. So we're just going to do a little test transition here again, too. So I'm just going to scan this over. And I'm going to push play on this song at a good area of this song. I set my key point, right? 40. Okay, let's see what it sounds like. Notice how it sounds a little bit off? Just a little bit. What you can do is tap your sync button. Just gonna tap the sync button a couple times, maybe change the master, and it sounds way better already. So now they're synced. And they both sound good. They're not too stretched. So it's really cool. Alright, that is how the sync functionality works, and that's going to help you out immensely throughout this bootcamp. What's going on? Now that we understand phrasing, how to get the downbeat, your tracks are analyzed, you're going to do a real deal transition. No more messing around. Let's get straight to it. For today's lesson, we're going to use the same songs that we were looking at yesterday, same phrasing and everything like that. So if you remember correctly, this is going to be 32 bars. The intro on this Golan Zosher track, that's going to be 32 bar intro. And what we're going to do is we're going to match this 32 bar section with the last 32 bar section of this Matan Caspi song. So we're going to be mixing out of Crossfire and we're going to mix it into this song here, okay? So let's just pretend like this whole song played, right? This whole track, really cool track. So we're just going to pretend like this whole song played all the way through here. And what we're going to do is we're going to get to the outro, and we're just going to count the bars here, and we're just going to double check that our phrasing is going to be right. So this is our beat here. So this section is most likely going to be 32. I'm almost positive about it. And the reason I say that is because if you look closely, this section is about the same length as this intro, and we already know that this intro is 32 bars, right? And you can just look closely, you can see the size of the waveform here is about the same as the size in the very beginning of the song. But we're just going to count it out and double check, and this is again just a good double check for you to learn how to make sure your phrasing is correct, okay? So we're just going to count it out. I'm not going to count the whole thing, so count with me and count in your head when I stop, so you keep the bars counting and you get the practice. The reason I'm not going to count the 32 full bars is because my voice is going to get really annoying. But you get the theme. So let's start that here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, 7, 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4, 1. 16 bars right there. All right, that was another 8 bars. So this is your final 8 bars. Alright, yep, so that was 32 bars. And what we're going to do now is we're going to start this 32 bar intro right at the first beat, the one, right at the first beat of this outro here. And what's going to happen is these two songs are phrased perfectly together. So when that little sound effect happens, the very last sound of this song it's going to start this drop, and it's going to happen seamlessly, okay? So let's just go back and give us a little bit of time here. Okay. And before we do this, we're going to make sure our tempos are matched, which they are. But what you're going to do is whatever song you're mixing out of, make that your master track. You see this orange light here? Okay. This orange light is super important because that is going to be your master song, and what you're syncing to over here, it's syncing to the tempo of whichever song your master is. So if we're mixing out of this song, we want to be synced. This tempo, you want this tempo to be synced to this, right? So if this one is your master, you turn on sync, and your tempo is going to be 125 over here, and the tempos are going to match up. So let's just mess it up a little bit. Like, let's go back to the original tempo, which was 122, and this song's on master. So what do you think is going to happen if I push sync? Boom. The tempo just changed back to 125. And it's really cool because once it's synced up, your beats are going to be matched and your mix is going to be good right off the bat. So let's do this now. Now that our sync is on, our tempos are matched up. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to push play on this song right when we reach the first beat of this last 32 bar section. So they're both playing together now, right? Both songs are playing, right? This song is going to end right when this drop happens. So that's what proper phrasing is going to do. The mixes are going to be seamless across the board. So that's your standard intro, outro mix, okay? So let's just talk about another way you could do it too, because you don't always want to start the song at the very beginning. Maybe you might want to mix it into a different part of the song. So now that we're out of this song and we're into this track, let's pick a new one from our list. I'm going to do the Frozen, the Rodriguez Jr. remix. So I loaded that over here onto deck 1. Okay, so let me just get this cue point set here. And I don't know if you noticed, but it started back over here, right? So if I push play from here, there's going to be a little bit of gap of audio, right? And you don't want that because when you're syncing the beat, it could sync it to the wrong beat. So what you're going to do if it starts over here, you're just going to drag this jog wheel over. You're just going to grab it, right? You can move it around. Drag it right to the beat and click the cue button. And what that's going to do is it's going to set it right where you want it to be, so whenever you push play, it's going to trigger right when the first kick is. That's your cue point, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're just going to go in 32 bars into this Frozen song. And the reason I'm doing this, let's just talk about that, is you notice there's a lot of music happening here, and that is all a drum beat. And I set a hot cue here halfway through, and that's about 32 bars in, or exactly 32 bars in, I should say. And then you see there's a little breakdown here. So maybe I wanted to mix into the breakdown instead of mix it into this part here. And I'm just going to do that by skipping ahead a little bit in the song. So what we're going to do is play it right when this last part of this song happens. So let's just scan ahead and check it out. Let's just get over here. Right when this outro starts, right here. Cool. So that is the downbeat of this outro section, and you can tell again because you have this little fill thing. Okay. So this point is where I'm going to trigger my song. 32 bars into the track here. So I'm not actually going to be starting it at the intro. I'm going to start it a little bit deeper into the song. Okay. Just right here. Okay. So both of our songs are at 120. They're all synced up and matched, so that's good. So let's just go back a little bit here, and I'm going to show you this transition now. Oh, I missed it. A little more time, maybe. Okay. And again, I actually want my master to be over here, so that way they get synced. Okay, both songs are playing now. Sounding good. I'm just going to let the song play out. Nice. So now this song is over. Alright, so I cut this one out, and it stops right where this cool section is here, where that bass really comes in. So that's just a different type of transition that you can do. And now that you understand phrasing, you can do that anywhere you want. You could even start the song here at the breakdown if you really wanted to. You can start it wherever you want. It's totally up to you. You just want to make sure that your phrasing is always correct. Because when your phrasing is off, the transition doesn't sound great. Hope you guys were able to follow for this one. This is really good information, and I'm really excited to see what everyone's able to put together in their mixes. I'll talk to you soon.